Okay, so good morning to all. We were looking at the gas power cycles. In that, so we were trying to obtain the mathematical expressions for dual combustion cycle in the previous class. Actually. So we derived at the expression for the thermal efficiency for a dual combustion cycle. So moving further, we are left with one more cycle, the Breton cycle. Before that, let's try to obtain the expression for the mean effective pressure for a dual combustion cycle. So what is your mean effective pressure? Already we know that. So mean effective pressure is nothing but your work done by stroke volume. Work done by stroke volume. So which is nothing but your W divided by V1 minus V2. So let me call that as expression number 1. Okay. Now according to your thermodynamics, once again I'm repeating again and again so that it will be easy for you to remember the things. Okay. We know from the thermodynamics, so PV is equal to RT. Okay. Then at the initial point at 1, so this will become P1 V1 is equal to RT1, or I can write V1 is equal to RT1 divided by P1. Okay, so let me call that as expression number 2. Okay, now what is your stroke volume? So that is V1 minus V2, or I can write V1 outside. If I take it, it will be 1 minus 1 by, okay, 1 minus, I'm taking V1 outside, this will be V2 by V1, or I can write V1 outside means 1 minus 1 by V1 by V2, or I can write V1 outside 1 minus 1 by RC, because RC we know that RC is equal to V1 by V2, which we have defined already. Okay, now substitute for V1 from equation 2. Okay, substitute for V1 from equation 2. Therefore, your stroke volume will be V1 minus V2 is equal to R into T1 divided by P1 into 1 minus 1 by RC. Okay, so this, let me call this as expression number 3. Okay, now what is your CV? So CV, we know that CV is equal to R by gamma minus 1, or I can write R is equal to CV into gamma minus 1. So substitute for this R in equation 3. So therefore, your V1 minus V2, that is stroke volume, is equal to CV into gamma minus 1 into T1 divided by P1 into 1 minus 1 by RC. So this is the expression what I have for the stroke volume. So let me call this as equation number 4. So now, this being a dual combustion cycle, the work done is nothing but heat supplied minus heat rejected. So the logic remains the same. But the heat is supplied at constant volume and constant pressure. Okay, if you go back and look into the your PV diagram, 2 to 3 is constant volume and 3 to 4 is the constant pressure. So I am trying to supply heat at constant volume and constant pressure. At the same time, heat rejection takes place at constant volume between 5 and 1. So I am going to write the expression. What will be the expression for the work done? This will be heat supply, that is CV into T3 minus T2 plus Cp into T4 minus T3. That is the heat supply, minus heat rejection will be Cv into T5 minus T1. So I will write that expression for the work done. So therefore your work done W is equal to heat supplied, that is Cv into T3 minus T2 plus Cp into T4 minus T3. So this is complete. This is actually it is heat supplied. Okay, minus Cv into T5 minus T1. This is nothing but heat rejection. Okay, heat supplied minus heat rejection is my work done. So let me call that as equation number 5. So let me substitute this in my mean effective pressure equation, that is 1. So therefore your 1 becomes, therefore equation 1 becomes, okay, I can write it as, so what it is actually, it is Pm is equal to, that is mean effective pressure is equal to, what is your work done actually, that is Cv into, okay, Cv into T3 minus T2 plus Cp into T4 minus T3 minus Cv into T5 minus T1 whole thing divided by your, what is it actually, it is your stroke volume, that is gamma minus 1. What is it actually, here we have it is actually Cv into gamma minus 1 into T1 by P1 into 1 minus 1 by Rc. Okay, it is Cv into gamma minus 1 into T1 divided by P1 into 1 minus 1 by Rc. So this is the expression what I have it. Now I am going to divide it. CV, look at the CV there in the numerator, denominator just cancel out. So I am going to divide throughout by CV or something. If I do that, what I am going to get actually, this expression I can write it as Pm is equal to, simply it is T3 minus T2 plus it will be Cp by Cv. So I can write it as gamma. We know that gamma is equal to Cp by Cv because gamma is equal to Cp by Cv. This we know it actually. So gamma into T4 minus T3. So Cv just cancel out. It will be only T5 minus T1 whole thing divided by, okay, divided by, so Cv I can cancel out, so it is only gamma minus 1 into T1 divided by T1 into 1 minus 1 by R. So this, let me call it as equation number 6. So now, so what we have actually, we have the mean effective pressure equation in terms of temperatures, that is T1, T2, T3, T4 and T5. Now already we have got the equations for temperatures. Substitute for this T2, T3, T4, T5 and simplify this equation. So what we have actually, already we have derived that expression, that is, so we have the temperatures. So we have obtained the temperature expressions earlier. We have obtained the temperatures T2, T3, T4 and T5. So what is it? Let me write it. So what is the T2? T2 is equal to T1, okay, Rc to the power of gamma minus 1. So what is your T3? So T3 is equal to your pressure ratio Rp into T1 into Rc to the power of gamma minus 1, okay, and your T4 is equal to rho into pressure ratio Rp into T1 into Rc to the power of gamma minus 1, and your T5 is equal to rho to the power of gamma into Rp into T1. So all these temperatures we have obtained earlier. I am going to use this expression here. So what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to substitute this in equation number 6. If I substitute, what will happen? I can simplify and get the expression for the mean effective pressure. So substitute for T2, T3, T4 and T5 in equation 6. Okay, if I do that, what will happen to your mean effective pressure? Your mean effective pressure PM is equal to, okay, let me write that. PM is equal to, first let me write for your T3. Okay, T3 is equal to RP into T1 RC to the power of gamma minus 1, okay, minus your T2, that is T1 into RC to the power of gamma minus 1, okay, plus, so I have gamma there, gamma into, this is for T4, so T4 is nothing but rho RP T1 RC to the power of gamma minus 1, okay, minus, so then it is for the T3, so T3 let me write RP into T1 RC to the power of gamma minus 1. So let me close the bracket, minus, so for the T5 it is rho to the power of gamma RP into T1 minus T. So whole thing divided by, okay, whole thing divided by, so now I have to substitute for, so this is gamma minus 1 into T1 divided by T1. So this I can write it as, so RC minus 1 divided by RC, that is compression ratio. For further simplification I can do it, because see I have T1 which is common in the numerator and I have a T1 in the denominator. So you can look at this. I have T1 here, T1 here, T1 here, T1 here, T1, T1, and I have a T1 here. So if I try to take common in the numerator T1 outside and T1, T1 just they cancel out. So what will be the expression for my PM will be, so mean effective pressure PM is equal to your RP. So that is, so here also I can take RC to the power of gamma minus 1, I can take it common. So RC to the power of gamma minus 1, if I take it out, this will be RP minus 1, because T1, T1 cancel out, plus gamma into, so here also RC to the power of gamma minus 1, am I taking it outside? Okay, RC to the power of gamma minus 1, if I take it outside, so I'm left with RP, okay, RC to the power of gamma minus 1 into rho minus 1 minus, okay, it will be only rho to the power of gamma into RP minus 1, whole thing divided by gamma minus 1 divided by P1 into RC minus 1 divided by RC. So this is the expression what I have. So further simplification I can do. So if I take my P1 denominator P1 to the numerator, then rearranging the terms, if I do that, I'll be getting the expression. So what it will be, I can write it as, so PM is rearranging the terms, that's it. I got my expression, only thing is I have to rearrange and get it in proper form. I can write it as, so RC, if I take it as numerator to the denominator to the numerator, so this will be RC by RC minus 1, then P1 divided by gamma minus 1, then so I can write it as RC to the power of gamma minus 1 into Rp minus 1 plus so it is gamma into Rp into Rc to the power of gamma minus 1 into rho minus 1 minus rho to the power of gamma into Rp minus 1, close the bracket. So let me call this as equation number 7. So this is the final expression for your mean effective pressure for a dual combustion cycle. This is the simplest form actually what we can do. So to do this, two things are important. One is getting all the temperatures T2, T3, T4, T5 in terms of compression ratio, pressure ratio, or your ratio of specific heats and your cutoff ratio. Then substituting for using your thermodynamic relations PV is equal to RT, getting the stroke volume in terms of those expressions. So that's a simple logic. Maybe you take for either a diesel cycle, dual cycle, whatever it may be. That's how you have to get it. Actually, is that clear? So if there are any doubts, so you can unmute and speak. So then we'll move to the next cycle that is called as Brayton cycle. Okay, fine. So it looks like it's clear. So I'll move to the next thermodynamic. There is a last cycle that's called as, it's also called as a Brayton cycle, Joule cycle, or gas turbine cycle. Okay. Brayton cycle. It's also called as Joule cycle, or it's also used in gas turbine cycle. Okay. So now, see, in case of gas turbine, so you have two things actually. One is called as a closed cycle, and other one is called as an open cycle. So what is this closed cycle and open cycle? Okay. So let me put a simple block diagram and try to explain it. See, usually we do have a compressor. If I take a closed cycle, if I consider a closed cycle, what will happen? So I'll be having a compressor. Okay, I'll be having a compressor. So this is the compressor, and the compressor has to take some fluid from somewhere. Okay, what the fluid will be? So the fluid will be something which is recirculated again and again. So what we are going to do actually, we'll try to have an heat exchanger here. We'll try to have a heat exchanger where the fluid will enter and exit in the heat exchanger, but the working fluid in your gas turbine will be the same fluid. Okay. Now this working fluid is observed in the compressor. It is compressed. Okay, it is compressed, and then I am going to burn the fuel. Okay, here it is the combustion process, and this combustion process is also once again a heat exchanger. Okay, I am going to add the heat. Okay, and here I am going to reject the heat, and I have the compression here, and I have an expansion. So expansion, I'll be having the turbine. Okay, I'll be having a turbine like this. It will come here. This is to be your turbine. and it goes out. The fluid, working fluid is recirculated. So the working fluid will not escape to the atmosphere. Okay, so this kind of cycle is called as a closed cycle gas turbine cycle or a closed Brayton cycle. Now the same thing, if I try to use a open cycle, what will happen? If I try to use a open cycle, what we are going to do is actually here in this, so I'll be having a compressor here. Okay, I'll be having a compressor. This is the compressor. This compressor will be taking the fresh air from the atmosphere, just like what you see in your aircraft engine. It will be taking the air from the atmosphere, then it gets compressed. Okay, it gets compressed, it goes into a combustion chamber. This is not an heat exchanger actually. It is actually the actual combustion chamber where your fresh air mix with the fuel and get ignited. Okay, and that burnt gases is expanded in a turbine. The burnt gases are expanded in a turbine, and this is we call it as exhaust gases, which is left to the atmosphere. Okay, so in an open cycle, what will happen? Fresh air is absorbed is taken from the atmosphere. It is compressed. Then the compressed air will go to the combustion chamber, mix with the fuel, and it will become a combustion product. So I'm going to add a fuel. Let me add here. So let me show that also. I'm going to add a fuel here. So the fuel, air will burn and will get what will combine together. We'll get what is called as a burnt gases, and that gases are expanded. Okay, I'm going to get here also I'm going to get your turbine work. So this is your compression work. So that is just a symbol what we are trying to show, and exhaust. So this is the major difference between your what we call it as a closed cycle and your open cycle. Okay, so preferably most of the gas turbines what we see is open cycle one, which is little bit inexpensive comparatively the closed cycle. Closed cycle gas turbines are used, but very less actually, where the internal working fluid what I am supposed to use has to be ensure that it's completely leak proof. Okay, but for an open cycle gas turbine, anyhow, we are going to take the atmospheric air, so maybe mix with the maybe your aviation fuel, burn it, expand in a turbine, and take it out through a nozzle so that I get further thrust and leave it to the atmosphere. So these two kinds of your Brayton cycle will work. Now, if I try to look at the points actually, so if one is the entry to the compressor, 2 is the exit from the compressor, 2 to 3 is nothing but your heat exchanger, and your 3 to 4, look at this, see 3 to 4 expansion, 4 to 1 it's heat injection. Same thing, whatever we studied in the previous cycle, the same thing. Here also it is 1 to 2 compression, 2 to 3 your combustion or your heat addition, then 3 to 4 and here 4 to 1 is I'm going to leave it to the atmosphere. So if I try to put a PV diagram for this and a TS diagram for it, let me write the PV and TS diagram for a combustion chamber. Now, in case of a gas turbine cycle or a Brayton cycle, the heat addition and heat rejection has to take place at constant pressure. What is it actually? Constant pressure heat addition means I need to add certain amount of energy to it by adding some amount of fuel. I can't have a constant volume. So it should be a constant pressure. Okay, it should be a constant pressure. And even the heat rejection also takes place at constant pressure only. So that's why the heat addition and heat rejection in a Brayton cycle takes place at constant pressure and constant pressure heat addition and constant pressure heat rejection. So let me write the PV and TS diagrams for that. So this is my PV diagram, and parallel side by side I'll put the TS diagrams. PV and TS diagram. Okay, I'll start with the regular point 1. Okay. One to 2. Okay. So heat addition is at constant pressure. So I will go from 2 to 3. This constant pressure heat addition. Then expansion. Okay. It is from 3 to 4. Then it is constant pressure heat rejection. From 4 to 1, it is a straight line. Okay. So what is it actually? This is isentropic compression. This is isentropic expansion. So this is a compression process. This is an expansion process. So here the pressure is constant. P is equal to constant here. Here also P is equal to constant. So that means here P2 is equal to P3 and P1 is equal to P4. So if I try to put the corresponding volumes, this will be V4, this will be V1, this will be V3, this will be V2. Your V1, V2, V3, V4, they are the corresponding volumes. So now if I try to put it on a TS diagram, so what it will be? 1 to 2 is the isentropic compression. Okay, so let me put that. So this will be from 1 to 2, it's a vertical straight line. This is 1 to 2. Then 2 to 3 is the constant pressure heat addition. Okay, so this will be constant pressure heat addition. Then 3 to 4 once again isentropic expansion. So it's a vertical straight line. Then 4 to 1 it is actually is heat rejection. Once again constant pressure heat rejection. So here if I try to put it, so here heat addition takes place, here heat rejection takes place. So this is the simplest way of representing the PV diagram and TS diagram for a Brayton cycle, irrespective of whether it is a open cycle or a closed cycle. The only what matters different between a open cycle and closed cycle is how you are using your working fluid. If working fluid escapes into the atmosphere, it becomes an open cycle. The same working fluid recycled, used again and again, it becomes a closed cycle. Is it clear? So now once you understood this particular working of this Brayton cycle, now we'll try to obtain the mathematical expressions for it. Okay, expression for thermal efficiency. Expression for thermal efficiency for a Brayton cycle. Expression for thermal efficiency of a Brayton cycle. Okay. So what is your heat supplied? Heat supplied at constant pressure. Heat rejection is also at constant pressure. So therefore, your work done is equal to heat supplied minus heat rejected. So this will be, so if I consider m is equal to 1 kg, this will be Cp into your T3 minus T2 minus, once again it is Cp into T4 minus T4 minus T1. So this is my work done. Let me call that as equation number 1. What is your thermal efficiency? Thermal efficiency is equal to work done by heat supplied. So work done is equal to Cp into T3 minus T2 minus Cp into T4 minus T1 divided by Cp into T3 minus T2. So what I'm left with actually, I'm left with thermal efficiency is equal to, it will be only 1 minus T4 minus T1 divided by T3 minus T2. So let me call this as equation number 2. So this is the expression for thermal efficiency in terms of temperatures. So I can obtain the same expression in terms of other ratios. What are the ratios? We have pressure ratio and we have the ratio of specific heat. Here you don't have compression, all those things. Here you will have only the pressure ratio. So let us define, okay, let us define pressure ratio RP. Let RP is the pressure ratio for this Brayton cycle. What is it actually? It is nothing but if you go back and see here, what is it actually? Your pressure ratio, it is P2 by P1 or P3 by P4. So because your compression, so both are same. So pressure ratio RP is equal to P2 by P1 or it can be P3 by P4. So high pressure minus low high pressure divided by low pressure. So I'll write that. So RP is equal to P2 by P1 or P3 by P4. So let me call that as equation number 3. Now consider the process. What is the process? 1 to 2. What type of process it is? 1 to 2. 1 to 2 is an isentropic process. So we know that for an isentropic process, T2 by T1 is equal to your V1 by V2 whole to the power of gamma minus 1. Okay. At the same time, I know that T2 by T1 is also equal to P2 by P1 whole to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. So this is all from the thermodynamics. Okay. Consider, so that's why I keep telling you people just go back and brush up your basic thermodynamics, BTD. So consider the process 1 to 2. Okay, so we have from thermodynamics, that is T2 by T1, which is equal to V1 by V2 whole to the power of gamma minus 1, which is also equal to T2 by T1 whole to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay, so what is P2 by P1? P2 by P1, we have defined it as pressure ratio. So therefore, I can write T2 by T1 is equal to Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. Or I can write T2 is equal to T1 into Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. So let me call that as equation number 4. Now similarly, I can go for the process 3 to 4. I can obtain the similar kind of expression for the considering the process 3 to 4, which is once again isentropic expansion. Okay, I'll do that. Consider the process 3 to 4. Similarly, let me write that. Similarly, I can write T3 by T4 is equal to V4 by V3 to the power of gamma minus 1, which is also equal to T3 by T4 whole to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. Or what is P3 by P4? Just now we have defined that is also as RT. Or I can write T3 by P4 is equal to Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. Or I can write T3 is equal to T4 into Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. So let me call that as equation number 5. So I got the expression for T2 and T3. So I'll substitute for this T3 and T2 and T3 in my thermal efficiency equation. Okay, that is equation number 2. Substitute for T2 and T3, okay, in equation 2, that is thermal efficiency. So what will happen? Therefore, the thermal efficiency is equal to 1 minus, I will write as it is T4 minus T1 in the numerator. So in the denominator, I will write for, first I will write for your T3, then I will substitute for your T2. So I can write it as T4 into Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma minus T1 into Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. So now if you look at it, so further simplification is 1 minus, see in the denominator Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma is common. So this will be in the numerator, it is T4 minus T1 divided by Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. So this will be T4 minus T1. So T4 minus T1 in the numerator and denominator just simply cancel out. So I am left with my thermal efficiency is equal to 1 minus 1 by Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. So which I am calling it as equation number 5. So equation number 6. So this is the expression for thermal efficiency. This is the expression for the thermal efficiency. See, in case of your Breton cycle, so instead of looking at the mean effective pressures, we'll try to look at the what is the maximum work done. We'll try to look at the pressure ratio. See, so what will happen here? So if you try to plot this thermal efficiency, if you want, you can take that as an homework. So what we will try to do is actually, see, if I try to do some kind of thing, as I already told that if I take the thermal efficiency on the y-axis and your pressure ratio on the x-axis. So what is the expression we have? So the expression is 1 minus 1 by Rp to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma. So now, depending upon the condition of Rp and your working fluid, so I will get the different curves for it. Say for example, if I take gamma is equal to some lighter working fluid. So air is 1.4 we know. So anything lighter than air 1.6 or 1.7 I will get it, or maybe the burnt gases what we come across. So that will be having a gamma value of around 1.3 or 1.32 and all. So depending upon these conditions, so my curves what I'm going to get actually, it's something like this. See, this will be a curve for gamma is equal to your real working fluid. Okay, so now, so this may be for gamma, this is for air. So if I take a lighter fluid, working fluid, so 1.6 or 1.67 or 1.7, so I'll be getting something like this. So we have seen this similar kind of condition in case of an Otto cycle. So there it was depending upon the compression ratio. Here it is depending upon the your pressure ratios. So that is the major difference between your Otto cycle and diesel cycle. So there it was, see, if you look at the Otto cycle, it was constant volume heat addition, constant volume heat rejection. So that's why we had compression ratio. In case of a Breton cycle, it is constant pressure heat addition and constant pressure heat rejection. We are left with the pressure ratio. So that's the major difference. So here, once we have obtained the expression for this particular thermal efficiency, so already we know what is the work done expression. So work done expression is nothing but your equation number 1, that is Cp into T3 minus T2 minus Cp into T4 minus T1. So is it possible for us to maximize this work done, or at what pressure ratio condition I'll be able to get a maximum work done? Okay, this is the condition. So what is the relationship between this? So from the thermal efficiency, I could see that the only relationship is actually it is your pressure ratio. So what should I do actually? I should be able to take this equation number 1, that is Cp into T3 minus T2 minus Cp into T4 minus T1 and differentiate it with respect to your pressure ratio and equate it to 0. If I am able to do that, I'll be getting a condition. I'll be getting a condition for Rp, that is your pressure ratio. If I substitute in my work done expression, I'll be getting the maximum work done. Are you getting? So this is how you can